time for 2 hours of sport. Coming up today in the Joy Sports Link, the Normalization Committee of the Ghana Football Association are on the warpath with Premier League clubs. At a time when we thought we could finally get some football, it seems that we have hit a snag. We look at all the issues. Why are the Premier League clubs backing on the offer of getting some good money and playing football at last? And also, what is the position of the Normalization Committee? Can we get any middle ground? And how does it affect you, and why is this important? All this from now until 2 p.m. here on the Joy Sports Link.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
And thank you for staying with us. It's been 3 months since the Normalization Committee of the Ghana Football Association started work, following the fact that they were given the mandate to reform football in Ghana after that itself, because of the fallout of the June 6th investigation from Anas Aremeyaw Anas. They have 3 months more with which to do their job. Their mandate expires on the 31st of March, after which they have the, opportunity, if they want, to extend that mandate. However, the honeymoon period is well and truly over. They were given 3 terms of reference, and as we speak, they are not doing much of that, except for the first one, which is to manage the daily affairs of the Ghana Football Association. Thankfully, we've seen no glitches in the way they've handled all the national teams in the international competition, from the Black Stars in AFCON qualifiers to the under-20 women's team in the World Cup, the under-17 team in the World Cup, the women's national team, the Black Queens, in the women's AFCON, and organizing the women's AFCON itself last November until the 1st of December. So far, that has been stellar. However, the 2 other things, the 2 key things that they are supposed to do, we are not getting any hope and any prayer that it's going to happen at the moment, and patience is running out. Nothing encapsulated this feeling more than in the past 2 weeks, where the Normalization Committee started procedures to meet clubs in Ghana to start active football in the country. There were 4 or 5 meetings, and it came to a head on January the 8th, just a couple of days ago, when they met Premier League clubs. The aim was to start a competition by the 26th of January, and so we all thought that it was going to be exciting times. We were going to agree on modalities and football will begin, but that is not what happened. What happened instead was that the 2 sides had what we can only describe as entrenched positions, and in the end, the Premier League clubs issued a statement which was really not as antagonistic as some might want to call it, but it was a statement of intent, basically to say that they were not interested in what the Normalization Committee had to do and had to say. That's why we are here. Aminu Shado will be speaking to us. He's an administrator for Dreams FC with knowledge of the way the Premier League clubs want things to be done. And unfortunately, we didn't get a spokesperson for the Normalization Committee. At the moment, however, we will try to do a good job of articulating their point of view. If you know the issue at stake and you have your views, because it's been trending for the past 24 hours, please let us know any questions you have. Send them to 0244 340 437. That's on our WhatsApp line, 0244 340 437. I'll give you time to ruminate and think about the issues and send us the comment. But first of all, as we normally do every week, we take you outside the country, outside the continent, to give you an idea of what's happening in the European football circles. It's George Addo Jr. with the BBC News 2-Way. After that, we begin the discussions in earnest. This is the Joy Sports Link. I'm Gary L. Smith.
Thanks for your time this weekend, and a special Happy New Year to you and the crew. Let's start then with the January transfer window. Chelsea should be chasing a striker, but currently have to deal with potentially losing Callum Hudson-Odoi. How will this be resolved, and who are the Blues chasing?
Happy New Year to you as well, George. Very, very interesting this, George. Chelsea haven't responded to that $44 million bid on the table from Bayern Munich for Callum Hudson-Odoi. And the club are very, very aware of Bayern's very open courting of the player in the media this week. They're saying how much they like him, how much potential they think he has. And Chelsea are actually willing to report the German club to FIFA if they believe that Bayern Munich have made an illegal approach for their player or effectively tried to tap him up. So that's an interesting one to watch, certainly. But away from Hudson-Odoi and whether or not he will leave Stamford Bridge or not, it's certainly a problem that Chelsea need somebody in front of goal to score some goals, don't they? They need a striker. Maurizio Sarri is very aware of that, and somebody that he certainly look at is Bournemouth's striker Callum Wilson, who scored 12 goals this season. He's obviously played for England as well this season, playing very, very well. He's certainly somebody that Maurizio Sarri is looking at. He's also linked with Gonzalo Higuain, who's obviously on loan this season at AC Milan from Juventus, but Higuain is a player that Sarri knows very well indeed. He managed him at Napoli 3 seasons ago, and in 44 appearances I think Higuain scored 38 goals, so certainly knows how prolific he can be in front of goal. The problem is he's 31 years old now, so quite old in terms of certainly for a striker, and Chelsea would have to spend a lot of money if they're to bring him to Stamford Bridge. They'd have to outbid AC Milan, who have first refusal to sign the player permanently at the end of the season. So it's whether or not Sarri is able to convince the guys in charge at Stamford Bridge whether or not they should part with that much money.
What can you confirm by way of transfer news involving the Big Six in the English Premier League then?
Well, let's have a look at Arsenal first, because Aaron Ramsey certainly looks like he's on his way out of the Emirates, doesn't he? Unai Emery saying in his press conference on Thursday actually that he actually can't sign any players this window. He can't afford to. He can only take loan players because that's all that the club can afford at the moment. So Aaron Ramsey's contract, as we say, runs out at Arsenal at the end of the season. It's looking more and more likely that he might move to Juventus. He could become one of the second best played player at Juventus behind Cristiano Ronaldo if he's convinced to make that move. So that's one to watch. Khalidi Koulibaly is a player we mention all the time, isn't he? And he's a player that plenty of teams are interested in. The Napoli defender's been in the Serie A team of the year in recent seasons many times, hasn't he? He's been in great form. Manchester United have been linked with this week perhaps for a move for him, and Liverpool, well, they're looking to bring in Burnley's James Tarkowski, I think, on a loan deal. That follows the hamstring injury that Dejan Lovren suffered in their FA Cup defeat on Monday night to Wolves. So they certainly need some cover in defence, I think.
Domestic staff and the newfound Manchester United resolve will be tested by Spurs and the EPL's headliner. What do you anticipate though? Proper reality check for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or confirmation of his prowess?
I think this is the first big test, really, isn't it, for the interim boss at Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The first 5 matches, he won them all, but it's fair to say that they came against the kind of opposition that you certainly would expect United to be able to beat. The last, of course, at the weekend in the FA Cup against Reading. And I think this is the first true test, isn't it, really, to see how far United have progressed in the 3 weeks or so that Solskjaer has been in charge. And it could be very, very tough away at Wembley against a side, Tottenham, who are flying at the moment. They scored plenty in their own FA Cup win at the weekend, and they beat Chelsea, didn't they, on Tuesday in the first leg of their League Cup semi-final. So I think Possibly Tottenham will edge it, but I expect plenty of goals from both sides because they like to attack, don't they? And I think actually if they do lose this one, United, but they score lots of goals, I think United fans won't be too disappointed as long as they see a performance from the players that is better and that the team is moving in the right direction. Remember the last big match they played against Liverpool in the middle of December in that 3-1 defeat, they were outclassed in all areas of the pitch. So I think as long as they don't see that kind of performance again, the fans will be happy even if they do just lose that one.
Title race next, and Brighton are first to test Liverpool after the first defeat of the season. Will it be another easy day at the office for Klopp's men or a chance of a real blip in sight?
Yeah, Liverpool certainly did have a blip, didn't they, on Monday night in the FA Cup when they lost that match to Wolves. It follows the loss of their unbeaten record in the league with that 2-1 defeat to Manchester City last week. But I expect that Liverpool will have too much for Brighton. But I think it's important that the players put in a good performance and not just get the 3 points in this game. Manchester City don't play till Monday night, so it opens up a bit of a gap before their match between first and second in the league, obviously. And I think really when you look at that FA Cup match on Monday night, it was a good chance of some silverware this season for Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. Remember, he hasn't won a trophy yet at Liverpool, and obviously now they're out of the FA Cup, that's a route to some silverware that's been shut to them. So I think they do need to try and put that defeat behind them and put in a good performance. I think they need a win against Brighton. It's important.
Finally, do you expect change in the race for the top four, with Arsenal travelling to West Ham, Chelsea hosting Newcastle, and of course Spurs taking on Manchester United?
Chelsea aren't looking great at the moment, are they? They lost to Spurs in the League Cup, as we mentioned. They dropped some points over the busy December festive period, notably that defeat to Wolves, if you remember. But Arsenal, again, they're not looking great either. And as we say, Emery's saying that he hasn't got any money to sign new players this month and try and change that. I can see both London clubs winning their respective matches this weekend. Arsenal obviously playing West Ham and Chelsea against Newcastle. But honestly, the way that both have been playing recent games, we could see them both dropping points as well, I think, couldn't we? What I think we do know is that obviously fourth spot is the best that both sides can aim for in the league this season. I think the top three are far and away playing better football at the moment and unlikely to be caught.
Joy 99.7 FM.
So George Addo Jr. with the BBC News 2A today. So back to the discussion here on the Joy Sports Link. If you just joined us, we are coming up to half an hour after 12, and like I said, we'll be discussing the normalization committee and the latest hurdle they face. In studio with me, Benedict Owusu-Dankwa, who begins the show with us. Benedict, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, so I've given the preamble to the discussion, but just to keep our listeners clued in as to where we are, essentially, the normalization committee wanted to start a football competition. Yes, they wanted to do that. They reached out to the clubs, the Premier League clubs and Division 1 clubs as well. The head of the normalization committee is Dr. Kofi Amoah, and you had an interview with him this week on Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday I had an interview with him after their meeting with the clubs. So, they called the clubs to a meeting to discuss the format, the modalities, as well as the financial package for the competition. The competition was announced somewhere last year, and we were all very happy about it, that finally we're going to have football back in the country. And they mentioned that it was going to be a special competition, not the Premier League. Some wanted the Premier League as well as the MTN FA Cup to continue, but of course, having Kumasi Asante Kotoko participate in Africa already and everything that was going on, they thought it wise that this was a competition they were going to bring. So they called the clubs to a meeting, which was on Tuesday at the Football Association's head office, to take them through the modalities and also find out from them if they have any concerns about whatever they want to do. And after that meeting, I had a lengthy discussion with him about the format, if the clubs were okay with it, the financial package as well as. And interestingly, as if I knew this was going to happen, I asked him a question if he was going to be surprised should the clubs come and say that we won't participate in the competition.
Right. So we'll hear that interview with Dr. Kofi Amoah right now. But let me tell you also that Aminu Shado is in the studio with us. Aminu, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
My dear brother, who refused me the privilege of giving him a wedding gift.
Aminu. So Aminu is here in his capacity as an administrator for Dreams FC today, but he's here as somebody with knowledge of the situation where the Premier League clubs are concerned. Just to remind you, they reneged on an offer so far from the normalization committee to take part in this special competition.
Yeah, and it's good we have a meeting here because he was in that meeting and the series of meetings that have been held in the course of the week. He was part of all those meetings. So it's good that we have him here.
So, I mean, you will give us an idea. However, for the benefit of listeners, this interview was done on Tuesday before the Premier League clubs said they won't take part in the competition. It gives us a bit of color as to where we are. So this is Dr. Kofi Amoah, the head of the normalization committee, and Benedict Owusu Dankwa as well.
All right. Doc, so how was the meeting with the clubs?
I think the meeting went well. In a gathering like this, you're going to have diversity of opinion, but I think the consensus that Ghana should start playing football was clearly demonstrated. And this is what is important to the normalization committee, that Ghana must start playing football.
Did they give you an idea of how eager the clubs want to play football in the country?
Not necessarily in this meeting, but we get calls, and every time we meet with them, that the players are getting rusty, the club owners are making overhead payments, and there's no commensurate revenue coming in. So as much as possible, they've been encouraging us to do something and start playing football.
I know the modalities were discussed with the clubs. Are they okay with it?
Well, I would say 95% yes. I think they are. You see, I also told them that this is not perfect conditions. We are still on the road to perfection. And until we get there, any tournament that we put in place is going to have some areas that people will contend with. So they understand that, you know. The issue of cleansing up our refereeing community has not been finalized. We still have issues with pitches that are not really good to play on. We have issues with match attendances, issues with sponsorship. So yes, we hope that the restart of football will try to test some of the solutions that we think we can use to solve the problems facing Ghana football, and that through this, it will get to a point where we'll get to perfection.
Generally speaking to them, most of them are not okay with the financial package for this special competition. Are we going to do something about it?
Well, I mean, the FA cannot absorb everything. The FA is trying to do exactly what it's supposed to do. Go out there and tell the story of the restructuring of Ghana football to see if we can get corporate sponsorship, for instance. We have met with government representatives. We've done what we can. But we are also happy that, let me put on record, that the Ghana government has been very, very encouraging, and knowing that where the football status is going to be difficult to get sponsorship. The Ghana government has stepped forward and provided some funds so that we can start playing football again.
And at this point that we sit here, can we confidently say that this competition will come off, even with the reservations?
Oh, we are. Well, I mean, from our point of view, it should come on. We are going to do the draw on Friday. As we speak, we have set up a committee to go around the country to inspect the pitches, and then we'll select the ones that we think are match ready. So internally here at the FA, we are ready to move forward. By the conversation we've had with the club owners and club administrators, nobody has told me that they will not participate. So I have to assume that we're going to go 100% forward. But
per the discussions we had with them this morning, should any of them come out and say they wouldn't participate, would that come to you as a surprise? Well,
that is, we will cross the bridge when we get there. We don't expect any of the clubs who have been hammering us to start playing football, and now that the opportunity is there to say, because of ABNC, we are not going to do it. We expect everybody to come on board.
And for the normalization committee, if you're able to pull this off, how important will it be for you yourself and your committee?
I think it will be important in the sense that since June, organized football has not been there, even though we've had some national team competitions. Kotoko is playing in Africa. There have been some friendly matches. But I think for football development, you need organized competition, like the league and all of that. So as part of the responsibility of the normalization committee to organize and supervise the day-to-day activities of the GFA, I will be happy to start playing football again.
You made mention of officiating referees, and in the analysis, it was almost 60% of everything that we saw And if something should go wrong, obviously people will talk about how we've not been able to do things right going forward. What are we doing to make sure that we get the best of that?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one, because when you have a community where 60% are corrupted, it's a tough one. But for us, we think that cleansing Ghana football, normalizing things, creating new statutes, include the refereeing community. So we will do everything we can. We'll probably need about 50 to 60 referees to handle the normalization tournament. We have already talked to CAF and FIFA to bring us some trainers for a 2-day session or something like that, just to the ethics of refereeing, the transparency and all of that. So we'll do the minimum that we can do based on the time constraints we have. But I think as a Ghanaian community, we need to, the media people, we need to help us to address the issue directly to the refereeing community, that they are also occupying a position that is important to the development of Ghana football, and that if there are certain problems they are facing, they must come forward so those problems can be resolved. But fraudulent refereeing must stop. And I think Ghanaians should show their anger that we are not going to accept it, and that if they don't do it and they bring shame to themselves, they cannot blame anybody. On our watch, we'll do everything we can to make sure that refereeing is transparent.
After 3 months, in our 4th month, are we on course?
I think we are on course. You know, I mean, it depends upon is the glass half full or half empty. We were given this job September 13th to take on a gargantuan national task like that. We take this job, the normalization committee members, we take this job very seriously as a significant national assignment. Now, to do this thing properly, we needed to understand what are the problems. Why is Ghana football falling from its zenith to where it is now? And therefore, we had to take our time and meet with the different football communities, the players, the owners, the administrators, we met with the referees, the supporters union, the media people. And so right now, as you and I sit here, we have a pretty good idea of what the scene is like, what are the difficulties. And therefore, now our job is to put our heads down, open our brains, and start writing statutes.
Already, there's been discussion about probably maybe the normalization committee seeking an extension from FIFA. I don't know if you've heard about this, and if you have, what would you say about it?
Well, I think I don't know why Ghanaians always want to predict the negative. This is a 6-month tenure of activities. I appreciate the President of Ghana and FIFA giving me this opportunity and my colleagues, but I have my business to run. You know, as much as I want to sacrifice a part of my time and expertise to assist with a national assignment, we need to finish this and move on.
So you are assuring us that by the 1st of March,
I'm doing it. We took a job that is supposed to take us 6 months. So obviously our curriculum is going to be like that. That's what I can say for now.
And that's Dr. Kofi Amah speaking there to Benedict Owusu-Dankwa. So we are giving you the chronology of events. Benedict, after this meeting, they went over to meet with the Premier League clubs.
No, this was the interview was after their meeting with the Premier League clubs.
Yes, so on Thursday, they met again.
Yeah, they met again. The clubs, after this very meeting, the clubs met. They met at the Hearts of Folk Secretariat.
So the clubs met on their own?
Yeah, they met on their own. It wasn't at the Hearts Secretariat.
Somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Well, so they met on their own to deliberate on the format and also some issues that happened at the meeting yesterday, on Tuesday. So they met after that meeting on Tuesday to deliberate on the issues that were discussed on the meeting on Tuesday. So the clubs, of course, were not okay in terms of the modalities and the format of the competition, and some also gave me an idea. Even after that meeting on Tuesday, some gave me an idea, and to mention their names: Albert Komi, Ediana Star CEO, as well as Fred Champon. He's CEO of Ashanti Gold. Fred Champon mentioned that they were going to go ahead and play, but they were not okay with the financial package. And also Albert Komi, Ediana Star CEO, he categorically stated that for them the financial package is not something they can work with, because even Ediana rosters. They have to record their players. They have to pay players. And in the Premier League and even friendly matches when they are playing, it costs more than 2,000 Ghana cedis in a game. So for the normalization committee to say they will give them 20,000 Ghana cedis for the 8 matches, it will be woefully inadequate to take care of their expenses, and that he was going to consult his other top members in the club to decide whether they will participate or not. So from there, I got a reaction that yes, some of the clubs were not too cool with everything that was discussed in the meeting. That's why I put that question to Doctor, if he was going to be surprised should some of these clubs come up and say they won't participate in the competition. So for me, I'm not really surprised where we are. But
let's make it sequential. So at this point, the Premier League clubs met their normalization committee.
Yeah.
Ushado, this is where you come in. I saw on social media there was a meeting with among all the clubs. Was it a meeting of the Premier League clubs and the Division 1 clubs before you went to meet the normalization committee, just for the benefit of listeners?
It was a meeting of the Assistant Premier League clubs.
Just the Assistant Premier League clubs.
And just to clarify, series of meetings of the Assistant Premier League clubs have been ongoing on various grounds. So it was just another opportunity to also digest an issue. On various issues, the assistant clubs have been meeting to look at how they can position their way into delivering a better football during this normalization process. So it's also offered us another opportunity to look at another angle, which was the competition. So it was only the Assistant Premier League clubs. I'm
glad to say that Dr. Kofi Amoah has agreed to speak to us on the phone. However, because we are making this sequential and just to make listeners understand what is going on, I'll let you speak about what the problem of the Premier League clubs is and was. Do you have the statement here?
Well, I don't have the statement. I don't.
But you understand. Okay.
Well, basically, I think the artificial rancor and animosity being created is quite unnecessary. It's just a matter of just understanding each other and then getting things underway. Let me put on record that we as clubs are very much interested in playing football, because that's what we are set up to do in any case. We want to play football.
Yeah.
However, in the process of normalization, we are coming from a history where clubs have been castigated, have been criticized, in my opinion, very, very unfairly, of not being able to stand their ground, not being able to demand what they are due, not being able to stand to accept and recognize their rights and the power they wield and insist that the right things are done. And once we are reforming Ghana football to ensure that it is better for all of us, we need to be, clubs are very much more aware of their rights now and will not renege on any opportunity to ensure that the proper thing is done. Issues of transparency have been one of the main issues of the old regime. And I admit, it hadn't been so tidy in the past. In fact, it hadn't been tidy at all. So going forward, we expect that things will be very, very clear. We take actions that set a tone of a better, a more transparent administration going forward. So in our meeting with the Ghana FA, the leadership of the Ghana FA, the NC to be specific, on Tuesday, our expectation was that we are going to a room, coming back to know that every doubt in our mind was cleared. But we actually went to the room and came out, and there were even more doubts in our mind.
My first question to you, again, because we want to make everything crystal clear for listeners, you went to not meeting on Tuesday, not aware of the specifics of what was going to be discussed. True or false?
The communique that was sent to us inviting us to the meeting was very, very clear. That it was at that meeting that the modalities and all other details concerning the competition will be unveiled to us.
Will be given.
So we had absolutely no idea at all. Nobody has hinted us. I thought probably it would have been better, much better, if these proposals from the Ghana FA were forwarded to us for our consideration before the meeting. So at the meeting, we could make conclusive.
You could tell them what your mind was immediately.
But we went there to take all the information, go and do our own consideration and all that, and return. In fact, it was supposed to be a consultative meeting. It was a proposal. We were to discuss if we have any counter proposals, we bring it, and then we see how we can fine tune it before the competition itself is launched. Now, that's exactly what we did.
And for the avoidance of doubt, this is what the normalization committee proposed to the 16 Premier League clubs and then the 48 Division 1 clubs. Yeah. Now, this meeting happened on the 8th of January. The normalization committee said they were introducing a product. They said that each club in this new competition will play 8 games.
A minimum of 8 matches.
A minimum of 8 matches. They also said that this competition will be divided into tiers 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Tier 1 will involve 200,000 cedis given to
20,000 Ghana cedis to each participating club.
No, I mean 200,000 in all, and then
all.
100 and 100. I'm coming from the top. They said they'll give 100,000 Ghana cedis to the clubs and 100,000 Ghana cedis to players'
To
salary.
the winners.
Yes.
To the winners. When in event you win, the prize money that goes to clubs
Yes.
is 100,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is another very, very weird.
No, I mean you take your time. We'll get there. I'm just laying the groundwork
sure.
at the moment.
So that's the prize money.
Yes.
Yes. At the end of the competition, the club that emerges winner takes home 100,000 Ghana cedis, while another 100,000 is reserved to be given directly to the players.
To the players, fine. And then for the tier 2 clubs, 150,000 Ghana cedis is the prize money, which is 75,000
Exactly.
Ghana cedis for clubs and
Exactly.
75,000
Precisely
as
so.
direct payment from the normalization committee to players.
I prefer you say Ghana FA.
To the Ghana FA. Dr. Kofi Amwa is on the line. We'll speak to him, but we need to make listeners understand
the basics.
Yes, the basics first. So the total amount to be disbursed wasn't answered to you guys.
Well,
I understand that you, the clubs, asked the normalization committee or the
Yes,
GFA.
yes.
Where is this money coming from? You were not told at the
and
meeting.
how much was the money? With
Yes.
a lot of hesitation, eventually they came. The communication was that it's coming from government. However, the total budget, the amount, wasn't revealed to us at that meeting. We only found out that $800,000 was the total budget, allocated budget for the competition, through the media, which for us. But in any case, it's okay. It's okay. That's not the crux of the issue. But we would have more been preferred if they had made this disclosure at the meeting with the primary stakeholders. But that's fine. That's no fatal to the argument. I think the more fatal ones have to do with the format and the disbursement and other policies that they want to, as it were, impose on the clubs, which I don't think is proper.
Right, Dr. Kofi Amwa, thank you very much for joining us on the Joy Sports Link.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Listeners. Good afternoon to the panel.
Yes, Gary Smith here.
I'm happy to know that you are discussing the issues bordering the restart of football playing in the country. What I want to say is this, and my brother Minu is there. I've met him privately. We met, so the focus of all of us is to understand going forward, what do we do to correct some of the obvious mistakes facing our football enterprise? Now, as the interview you played indicated, we've taken our time to meet with the important football community segments to understand their point of view and the problems and the opportunities. Now, we met with the clubs, club owners, club administrators. We've met with referees. We've met with the players and all other important sectors, including the media. Now, in designing something from our point of view, and please, this is not an imposition on anybody. From our point of view, and with the desire to really help reform Ghana football, the potential solutions that we see facing some of these problems, we wanted to test them in this competition that we're coming up with. And therefore, for instance, football clubs, owners, are important segments. And we know that they have to get ready to start playing football. It costs them something per match. We cannot cover everything, but at least we can do something. So we took our time to look for money. We've talked to almost all the banks in Ghana, big companies. And I must tell you that, in their opinion, where Ghana football is today, they don't want to touch it with their image or their brand at all. They look at it as being a negative. We couldn't break through at all. Now, we were able to make a convincing argument to government that says where Ghana football is today and it's a reformation process that we are undertaking, we need some financial input from government to try to get things going, and hopefully when we build the strength and sanitize the sector, then corporate Ghana will begin to see that this is a veritable platform upon which to introduce our company to the public and to brand ourselves. And therefore, we're able to secure some money. Obviously, all the money we secured are not supposed to be divided and given to the clubs. We have women's football to think about. We have Division 2 football to think about. There are a lot of panoply of issues that are involved in Ghana football. So whatever money that we got, if the clubs are thinking that everything should be given to them, I'm sorry to say to you, my brothers, that will be a mistaken notion. Now, one of the issues of contention, that why is the Normalization Committee or the GFA attempting to give money directly to the players? We believe that the player community is an essential component of the Ghana football enterprise.
Sure.
And when we meet to them, the cries from them to us indicated that really something needs to happen to begin to motivate them to focus on their trade. We are not trying to divide them from their clubs. No, we are trying to also say that Ghana football players must know that they are essential and they must focus and improve their playing so that if we are able to accomplish that, the games will begin to be more competitive, it will be interesting, the fans will be excited, they will go to the venues to watch them, they will watch them on television, and therefrom sponsors will then come in. So that is the direction from which we look at the player community as one of the essential segments of what we are doing to try to also do something about that.
Okay.
Now, the payments to the clubs, I don't think it's minuscule. Obviously, it may not cover everything. But let's face it, football companies are private companies. You know, we have met with the premier clubs many times. And they said that they can find money, they will come up with, they are able to raise some money and all of that. But up to today, honestly, if you ask them, no money has been raised. So the difficulties that we were facing, they're also facing the same difficulties. And therefore, with all respect, we are not trying to muddy the waters for anybody. We are trying to identify specific problems facing the football community and try our best to see if we do ABC, maybe this will work. It's try and error, you know. So this is what I want to say. Now, we met with them. They want to for us to change the format of what we have presented to them. Some of the areas were flexible. For instance, they pointed out to us that our normalization tournament cannot produce a representative of Africa
for the CHAF Champions League
competitions, which we say we are flexible. We'll talk to CAF. If that is not, we'll take that out. But we want the football team to start playing together. You know, right now we are reforming, so this is a special competition. You know that we want to come up with. They want to be seeded. You know, they don't join the playing until at a certain stage and all of that. But we wanted to show unanimity of focus and direction and the restart of football playing.
Okay.
Obviously, people can have a difference of opinion. But I think it is important that they come back to the table for us to sit down and talk. We don't want to divide the football community. That is not a legacy I myself is interested in at all. And they're all my friends. I have respect for all of them. But when there's a national crisis, sometimes we must all bury a bit of our individual desires and have the common good prevail. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on your platform.
Yes.
This is what
Dr.
I want to say.
Yes.
But I want to encourage my football brothers and sisters to look at it as a national assignment and exercise that in the end, Ghana football will be strong. For instance, we haven't won the CAF competition in about 37 years.
Yes.
Many say that we want what we don't understand this. Let's meet and talk and find a way to get with the football community. Our president has agreed to meet with the football community, not to interfere, but to find a way to motivate and understand and see if there's something that somebody can do to and get us back to the glory of Ghana football.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Moa.
Yes.
It will be quite unfair if we allowed you to just speak and then not allow Aminu and myself to ask a couple of questions as well. So just a few things based on your own submission. First of all,
no problem.
Yes. Why didn't you consult the clubs before clearly these modalities were drawn? Because on the meeting on Tuesday, that is when you presented it to them. But you've hinted that you met the clubs many times. The clubs also have made us understand that it was sprung up on them.
It was what?
It was sprung up on them. The modalities of this normalization committee special competition was sprung up on them. Giving them,
brother,
yes,
look,
please.
That's why when they called us that they want to meet us again after the meeting, we readily met with them. See, it is not an imposition. We readily met with them. We don't say take it or leave it. But obviously, based on the monies we have and the competing needs for that expenditure to be spread through, our hands are tied in other areas, But we looked at the essential part of what we're trying to do. Let's start playing football again. So when issues are of, we are a different community here, we have different things from that. I can understand that. But this is, like I said, this is a road to perfection. Yet, we are still in the midst of normalizing our football. So my beginning statement to them when we met was that these are not normal times. All right? What we are going to present to you will not be perfect. But I'm encouraging all of us to be flexible and accommodate at which that we can accommodate so we can start. You are the ones who said that your players are getting rusty. So we can start playing football again. We cannot have a perfect tournament that everybody will agree to at this particular moment. There are those who are even there saying that who is going to the referee? The referees are corrupt, this and that. So if you look at all these things, then the solution may have to be don't play football again. Focus on normalizing the process. When you come to the final one, a new statute, FIFA approves, Congress approves, then we start playing football again.
Doctor, one of the key...
If we don't want to wait, and we want to start doing something right now, whatever that we do right now are going to have difficulties in some areas.
Doctor, one of my personal problems, my overarching problems has been that, yes, I agree 100% that there is no problem that is unsolvable. However, my issue has been with the posturing from both your side and the clubs. To wit, if I look at the posturing from the normalization committee on one side and then the clubs on the other, specifically, why is it that I don't see a lot of consultation going on? Because, for instance, the clubs have been feeding and paying players forever and ever. I mean, they have been doing that from the time the documentary came out on the June the 6th until the normalization committee got a job. I personally thought that if I were a club owner, I'd frankly, Doctor, find it quite insulting that you would call my captains, which is what the normalization committee did. You called a meeting of the captains of the clubs without their owners present, had a meeting with them, that was fine. What the captain said, you did not call the clubs to verify what the captain said. The only thing we got to know after was that you had brought out modalities to suggest that you were giving out 100,000 Ghana cedis and 75,000 Ghana cedis to pay the players directly. I thought that if I am a club owner, Doctor, I'll be very, very peeved. And even as a businessman, I think that you'll be very angry if somebody called your staff and just had a meeting with them and then started paying them without understanding the issues that every club goes through, without knowing the contractual obligations of every club, Doctor.
Okay, for a normal corporate structure, I may agree with you. But here you are is a kind of corporate structure that has public input, for instance. And therefore, that's why government money has come in. And so that means that there's a need to dissect and understand the structure of that enterprise. And if we are facing certain problems, how do we look at that and solve it? In a wholesome way in the end, but specific problems that are facing specific segments in that enterprise must be dealt with. And as I said, we didn't say that the monies this is going to go to the club and then we are dividing a part is going to the place. No, it is a conscious effort that in this process, these monies will be given to the player community to motivate them, regardless of where they come from. And some of them were saying that when I when we get an incentive bonus, I don't give the same amount to all the players.
Yeah.
I divide based on their contribution.
Yes.
We didn't do that. We said that club would register 30 players. All the 30 players will get the same amount.
Okay.
It is an expression of encouragement to the player community. Now, if they insist that don't give it to them and all that, for me, that's what I'm saying, that different people will look at things differently.
Yeah.
If I am a company and my staff has certain financial difficulties and some monies are going to come in there to help motivate them, I will welcome that as a business person. I will welcome that. I will not look at it as the way that you express right now. I will look at it the opposite way.
Yeah, Doctor, which brings me to a very key point that I think that I'm glad I have the opportunity to tell the normalization committee this, that you see, you have said that as a normal businessman, but football is not normal business.
Mm-hmm.
The management of football, and this is what I think that some of the clubs have tried to put across that the normalization committee does not understand. For example, this argument you make that, because there's a government enterprise and a social enterprise attached to it, you want to pay the club, the players directly. There's a reason why clubs issue performance-related bonuses to players. Because when you register 30 players and consistently 18 or 11 players make the match day squad in every game, and the other 12 don't make the match day squad because they don't have good performances, it is, for football players, it is a serious issue yes, it is an incentive. It is a serious issue if I and number 4 keep playing 8 games, and then you pay me 2. Yes. You don't do that, which is why I think that in as much as really from where I stand, the normalization committee has very good intentions. I think that what is really lacking, Doctor, is you don't lack technical competence on the 5-man normalization committee. But what I honestly think, Doctor, is that a bit of emotional, understanding of the way football clubs work, and some of these things attached to them is an issue. I mean, he wants to ask you a question, Doctor.
I hear you.
Doc,
no problem.
I'm always.
Even after this, I can tell you that some people are saying that why are you leaving the technical bench off?
Yes.
They are also a part of it. So, as for this discussion, it can go on ad infinitum.
Yeah, sure.
Let me conclude by saying that our objectives are very pure. We love our football clubs. We love and appreciate the Ghanaians who are invested in football, training these young people and all of that. Whatever we can do to be an additive, a positive attitude, not a negative, is what we're trying to do. If somehow something we are doing can be corrected, we are not Jesus Christ.
Sure.
So when we meet them, this is the kind of conversation we have. But when it comes to the public domain, it makes it look like we are loggerheads with each other. I don't look at it that way. It is a healthy discussion of the practitioners of the football game with us as to what is wrong with Ghana football and some of the solutions we can put in going forward.
All right, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, please, one more. Before you go, I know you are pressed for time, but Aminu wants to ask a question. It has to be
I always enjoy speaking to Doctor, whether privately or collectively as a group. Fantastic ideas they may have based on the discussions they've had with several departments of the sport. But you see, football, if you want to make relevant changes in football, it is very, very important that you don't always bring in the outside ideas and assume that once it works elsewhere in the corporate world, it will necessarily also work with football.
Do you have a specific question?
What I'm saying is that
Aminu, please. You and I, we are met. Let's face it. Ghana football is at the doldrums. And therefore, the obvious conclusion is that some things have been done wrong.
Sure.
You understand? And so if we want to use the argument of practice all the time, for me, I cannot accept that. In that the ideas are wrong, maybe the implementations were wrong. There is something that went wrong that has brought us here. And therefore, we must all be open-minded. And we are not just thinking we are looking at examples around the world. The Belgians, how did they start from there? German football at the top went to the bottom. They regrouped, strategized, went back and won the World Cup in Brazil. So there are a panoply of examples that we can learn from. You know, we may not play the football, administer the football on a day-to-day basis, but our ideas and approaches are plenty around there. These things about us giving some money to the players directly, this will not be the first issue of football that is being done. There are so many examples of where the Football Federation pays directly. Suggested that. So all that I'm saying is that let's be open-minded, close our ranks, citizens, and do this together. On this one, I have to apologize and go. I'm in a meeting and I ask for permission. So thank you so much. We are very flexible. We want to join hands with our brothers in the football community. This is our approach, and that's what I ask for.
Dr. Amoah, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too. Bye.
He is the head of the normalization committee of the Ghana Football Association. So we had a litany of issues we wanted to talk about, but he's touched on a bit of each as we go along. And so we'll try to do our own dispassionate analysis here. And before the program started, I wanted to play the devil's advocate. I actually wanted to play the normalization committee while Aminu looked at the position of the clubs as well. So now that Dr. Kofi Amoah has spoken, I can resume my role. But Aminu, your thoughts on what he said?
Well, I would have preferred he had stayed on, but I mean, if he has other important things to do, sure. you can just understand him. But you know, when he speaks, when somebody like Dr. Kofi Amoah speaks on air, it's not reflective in the way they act and the way they communicate with the clubs. And I'll demonstrate
in a meeting, in a physical meeting.
This is the release they issued to us and by extension to the public after we met with them
on Tuesday.
This is simple English. Everybody understand the spirit and the tone of this release.
Please go ahead.
It was basically a take it or leave it. You gave the clubs option, either you take it or you leave it. And the clubs decided, okay, based on, because we raised concerns, the release even didn't deal with the concerns that we raised. It went ahead essentially to, and I'll quote the relevant portion.
No, read the entire release, if it's not too long.
Okay, to all the chief executives. Alternative proposals by Premier League clubs to the GFA normalization club. That was a heading. Mm-hmm. The Ghana Football Association sends its compliments. Reference to the meeting and proposals received and discussed with Premier League clubs representatives earlier today, we really appreciate the time and effort put in by the clubs. I don't want to bore you. Those are sure. They're trying to
pleasantries.
Yes. The most essential part, due to time constraints and well laid out plan, we will proceed. Keyword: we will proceed with the program as proposed and will appreciate if you participate in the competition as scheduled. Mm-hmm. Finally, we will appreciate your response by 10, basically giving us an ultimatum.
Yes.
These were proposals given to us by clubs.
Yeah.
You've opened the floor for clubs to also make counter proposals. Clubs go back, become and make counter proposals. You've not addressed the counter proposals and insist that you will proceed as you have scheduled,
and give us an ultimatum.
Yes, and give us an ultimatum, which means you've literally put aside all the concerns that the clubs have raised, and that for me is the problem. Here he's saying that their doors are still open and they want to consult. I mean, they are ready to make
but in the official letter, there's an ultimatum.
You see, if you can't come unofficially and give us an impression as if you are open and you are ready to listen to our concerns, and when we are dealing with the real issues where it has to do with paperwork, where the serious business occur, you hold an intransigent position which is not beneficial to the clubs. Look, with all due respect, I think I won't miss words on this. I've met the normalization committee individually and as a group. They have fantastic ideas. They are coming from a corporate background where a lot of things is very, very straight. Football is not like that. Every industry has its tenets and traits. If you don't consult the industry players, especially the industry players, those who spend their time and resources on the sport, those who are most affected by the decisions that you take, if you don't take them along, football on the field of play is a team. Even the individual sports, boxing and tennis are even turning into team sports nowadays. It's like that with management. If you don't involve everybody in the decision-making process and you take a decision and you disguise it as a proposal, and when counter proposals are made, you don't listen and you proceed, and then you unofficially tell us that you are ready to listen, then we are not going to achieve anything. The real issues, what are the real issues? We met we know that transparency has been an issue with football administration in this country. So when you meet clubs and you have opportunity to allay all doubt with regards to transparency issues. You don't miss that opportunity. Now, you refuse to tell the clubs how much was involved in the competition. Listen, they went to government to make a case for Ghana football to set up a competition.
Yes.
A competition for clubs. Let that fact not be lost on us. That's the basis on which you went out there to even look for sponsorship to play a certain competition. It presupposes that the resources that you generate for that competition must be, if not all, I admit, if not all, a larger chunk must be concentrated on the competition on which you made the case for. Now, if you secured $800,000 from government, you didn't tell us it was $800,000 on the spot. You told us through the media. Fair deal. Per our calculation, in Ghana cedis, you are spending just a little over 2 million Ghana, which is about 400. That's half the budget.
Yeah, sure.
Now, you went in for a competition. You see half of the budget for the competition. You've not even told us what the other half is being used for as we speak.
However, no. To be fair to Dr. Koyama, he just mentioned on air that the clubs, should not expect that all the money that they have, whatever amount.
We are not oblivious to the fact that, of course, when
there are women's football and other things.
We are very much aware. I'm saying that as we speak now, we've not been told how much is going here, how much is going there, how much is going there. I'm speaking about transparency issues here. For us to put our minds at rest, you tell us this is the total budget. This is how much is going here. This is how much is going here. On which basis we can also make input if we feel that probably you are shortchanging certain department that critically need the injection. We'll make that proposals and then we move on from there. But you don't make your own projections and then come and tell us that this is the amount we are devoting for this competition when the floor is open for negotiations and deliberations.
Sure.
Secondly, and more critically, has to do with the format of the competition. And you see, we've raised this issue. Of course, it's up to the NC to go to CAF and make a case why this competition or that competition should be used to determine representatives for the various interclub competitions.
For the benefits of listeners, explain to me why, per the modalities that the normalization committee have brought, we can't use this competition they are creating to have a winner that will take part in the CAF Champions League.
First and foremost, it is not the regular season, which is a league.
Yes.
We usually use the Premier League to determine representatives for the CAF Champions League.
That is a CAF statute.
Yes, and the Confederation Cup for the the FA Cup for the Confederation Cup, and it's because it satisfies the regulations of CAF. In every jurisdiction, football jurisdiction, the elite competition of the continent is reserved for the elite club of an individual member association of that continent.
Yes.
So, for instance, in Europe, teams in the second tier cannot play for the Champions League slots.
Sure.
It doesn't happen. Sure. In Africa, it's same. So if you intend to use this competition that's the original intent, to use this competition to determine representation for Africa, you need to be clear in your mind that for Champions League especially, it is a preserve of the teams in the elite division of football. Now, for the FA Cup, for the Confederation Cup, it says a competition of a national stature. Okay, that's why Division 2 clubs, Division 1 clubs, including Premier League clubs, also play for that slot. With this format, you have literally taken out the Division 2 clubs. In what satisfies the regulations has to be national. The RFAs are, in fact, the regional leagues, the teams that play in the regional leagues also have a right to stake a claim for the Confederation Cup. You've taken them out. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, you've lumped. I've already addressed the Champions League. So the Confederation Cup, you've disenfranchised one arm of it. And this is one thing that we brought. You see, when we make these salient points, I expect maybe, and I must concede, probably, we should also look at how we probably communicate to the leadership of the normalization committee and make a proper case and let them understand. But the posture, I always say this, because before we left that meeting with the understanding that, okay, they're also going to look at it and get back to us. And the response we got was, this, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So if you come up with this official response, and we know very well that it is not right to play the competition in this current format. We know. It's very, very clear to every rational human. I'm sure if I make this case before Doctor himself, you will admit that we have very, very good strong points for which they need to be considered. But you turn a deaf ear on it and decide to push ahead with it and expect us to go along. When in the past we've been blamed that club administrators will just go along with the wind because we want to chase a few change.
Yeah.
Now coming back to the funding. Well, let me deal with the players. The intention. Look, I have no
the intention to play
to pay directly.
Players directly.
I have no problem at all when a third party is interested in helping clubs
to defray their costs.
To defray their costs by way of taking some essentials with regards to player emolument. But in football, it's not done that way. We only see the end results on the field of play.
Sure.
We only see 11 against 11. We don't know the factors that culminate into you seeing the beautiful football, for which reason you want to even reward what you see.
Sure.
In my club, for instance,
Dreams FC,
the groundsman who cuts the grass for the team to perform on the field of play also shares in the benefits of successes where there is.
I see.
Yes. That is how serious. You see, I always say football is a team sport.
And it's not team sport, the 11 players.
And it's team sport, the 11 players team sport.
Technically,
it's not team sport, the 30 players that are registered. No. If you'll be making a big mistake, and that's even is not the main concern. The concern here is that you are putting club administrators, you are impugning on the integrity. That's in effect what you are doing.
Not even integrity, the authority, I think.
Thank you very much.
The word is authority.
Thank you very much. Look, we employed these players. Yeah. In fact, there are players who came to the negotiation table. We offered them terms, we negotiated, and they walked out because they didn't like the terms.
Sure.
Fair deal. There are others who agreed wholeheartedly, and they signed contracts. For which
is why they are players of your club.
Thank you very much.
And this club and this
Thank
club.
Thank you very much. And they are supposed to, their actions and inactions are supposed to be dictated. You know, even taking money from a third party could be even illegal to
the contract.
The contract.
Yes.
The players can be taken on. So you see, you are inviting clubs and even players unknowingly, and they are jubilating, and I'm surprised because if you even do the math, out of the 64 players that will enter, if 30 players are being registered, you have a total of 1,920 players.
Sorry, out of the 64 clubs that the normalization committee wants to register for this competition.
Exactly.
Times 30 players each.
It's 1,920 players. The communication makes it look as if these 1,920 players are going to benefit from the booty. That is not the case.
So what is the actual reality?
The actual reality is that only 120 of these 1,920 are eligible to enjoy this booty that they are talking about.
Why? Please explain why.
Because it is only the runners-up and the winners who enjoys this booty.
So what you are saying is that the normalization committee created a tier 1 and tier 2 competition.
Exactly.
But for example, for the tier 1, they were going to give 100,000 as to winners.
Yes. And then runners-up, another prize money to runners-up for the tier 1.
So out of the 60, tier 1 would have been how many teams? 32 teams.
Yes, 32 teams.
Right?
Yes.
So out of the 32 teams, only 2 clubs will get this money.
60 players.
60 players.
Yes.
The rest of the 30
so
clubs
you can
will
play up to the semi-final stage and you will not receive this money. So let's not create the impression as if it is a tax holiday or a sort for players and they must jubilate. You see, you don't create this erroneous impression in the minds of players and pick us against club officials, and then for them the expectation is that once we play this competition, Skabeba.
Okay, but to be fair, the normalization committee said they will give each club how much?
20,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes, so each of the 64 clubs will get 20,000 Ghana cedis for 8 games.
For 8 games,
which is woefully inadequate.
We all know that.
Yeah.
But that for us is not even a problem.
Yeah, we are not in normal.
We are
times.
not committed. We are very much committed in playing. In fact, we've been playing football and incurring losses all this while.
Sure.
The normalization committee came and they call it an enterprise.
Sure.
My basic understanding of an enterprise is that you maximize profit and you minimize costs to
make margins.
Revenue,
yes,
and then minimize costs to make profits. You don't make losses. So this enterprise they keep talking about, and they are feeding us with this money, where clearly
it's a loss.
It's a loss. Baffles me. So these are the issues.
So let's qualify it then. It is a social enterprise.
No problem. So we are not too much.
We are all tightening our belts more.
But we even believe strongly that with a few engineering here and there, we can recalibrate the disbursement such that from the preliminary round where the maximum number of matches are being played, we can do some engineering where this 20,000 will get some will experience some upward adjustment to cushion the clubs.
Sure.
And this is also something that we've presented to them
on the table.
So you see, it's not as if we went empty-handed. We've also even went further to say, okay, per the calculation that we've done, per the format that we presented to them, we'll see a shortfall of $400,000.
Hold on, that is to say that per the format you suggested to the normalization committee,
the
money they gave will not be enough.
Yes.
So you need an additional $400,000.
And we are telling them that
you will find the money.
We will find the money.
Hey, I mean,
in fact, the money is secured. It's
waiting.
It's secured. I'm telling you, it's secured. We said we are going to guarantee. We said we are going to guarantee that we are going to make this. We want to help the system. We want to also take part in helping.
I mean, the cynic in me suggests that. Hey, clubs. So you people have $400,000.
All of a sudden, due to the benevolence of the number 12, clubs are now becoming more and more assertive, which is very good. So we should all be happy that clubs are now taking the initiative to also help their regulators to meet certain targets.
Anyway, so it's 21 minutes after 1 here on the Joy Sports Link. I'm Gary Smith. You just heard Aminu Shadu, who is an official of an administrator for Dreams FC Football Club, but he's here in his capacity as somebody with knowledge of the position of clubs in relation to everything that's going on with the normalization committee. Also here with me, and you heard his interview and his input was Benedict Osudankwa of the Joy Sport team. Also here, seated but has not spoken, his Hans Mensah Ando as well. We'll give you the opportunity, having heard myself, Aminu, Dr. Kofi Amwa himself. If you missed it, it's unfortunate, but you can get it on Facebook on our live stream. And Benedict, to present us with your questions. Let's try and demystify some of the things and put certain things straight as well. We trust that we have enough knowledge to answer a lot of the questions you put forth. So the number, as always, is the same: 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. I mean, one question I want to ask is that, where is the money, the $400,000? I mean, you are always asking for transparency. You people said that if the normalization committee go ahead with the proposal and the formats that you are bringing, you bring $400,000. Please, where is that money from?
Do you have any reason to doubt
that Ghanaian clubs have that money?
That people who went there to make the presentation, including the eminent Togbe Afede, the 14th, will go out there and make pronouncements where they don't have a backing for it. Are you questioning?
What I'm questioning, I didn't want to go directly.
Yes.
Is the money from Togbe Afede?
I'm telling you that the clubs have guaranteed that we are going to make that money available.
So I should just assume that the money is from all the clubs.
And I'm telling you that we have guaranteed that the money is there and we are going to make it available. All the normalization.
Gary, is it the same thing they're also doing to the normalization committee? They've also told you that the money is there.
You see,
and you want transparency, but you don't want to talk about it.
I mean, you don't even answer. Let me give you the answer. The normalization committee have the burden. This one, the burden of proof. They are supposed to, because they are the state as it is. They are not a private enterprise. The clubs can decide not to tell us where the money is from, but the normalization committee cannot decide on their own not to tell us where the money is from. So we can't push too much.
Okay, but there's something they also have to know. I mean, the competition you want to play still would have to be sanctioned by the normalization committee, right?
Of course.
Yeah, that is why it's a negotiation.
Okay. But
are you suggesting that probably they won't?
Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, we're all just looking for a common ground where we'll have football. And you guys. I want to ask you a question. Have you looked at the timelines? I mean, you've talked about how we want to finish this special competition before the Africa Cup of Nations, which is in June.
Mm-hmm. June 15th.
Yes. Now, if you want to play your 16-team competition.
Yes.
And then still play the normalization committee competition, which will involve the Premier League clubs as well as Division 1 and Division 2. Have you looked at when we'll finish?
I would have wished that probably you were in that meeting.
Oh, so tell us.
All these concerns.
You tell us.
Yeah, so you tell us.
See, all these things have been worked out.
It would have run concurrently.
Yes, I keep making the point that times have changed. The posturing and the criticism of clubs that we lack the requisite knowledge to even maneuver our way through when there are issues.
And you don't blame us for saying that, because for almost 15 years, you people have allowed yourselves to be pushed around by anybody who has money.
And that's the more reason why you should be very, very happy that the clubs are beginning not to only reject a proposal that they see as counterproductive, but propose alternatives. Well-worked alternatives. This is not just Bosremka, as they say. We go and we work out together the modalities and everything, and we sit with them and we show them. So it's not as if we go there and just talk and then we go. We go there very, very sure of what we have done, and we go and we present it to them. All we need to, you see, let us not, I keep stressing upon, let us not create this artificial tension and animosity between clubs. That's not the case at all. We just have to understand ourselves, get ourselves in a room, all egos and any other thing aside. Let us work our way into bringing Ghana football to where it's supposed to be. You cannot do the football by not seeking the input and not, in fact, not adding the input or addressing the input or issues or concerns of clubs and go your way as if you are imposing. If Doc is saying to us now that they are very open, it should reflect in the official communications. That's what I'm saying. That's where the serious business is done.
Not radio.
Not on radio. Radio, they'll tell you where is the proof. When you go to court, you can't just produce an interview and say that's the proof. Where there's an official communication, these kind of messages that are coming across must be reflected in the official communication with clubs. For us, we are very, very much open. In fact, I'm looking forward. I think I'm even looking forward for a call for us to go into a meeting to ensure that by Monday, where the launch is going to take place, we even announce even more exciting packages and innovations to the media.
Right, 0302216541. That's the studio line. On WhatsApp as well, we are getting a couple of messages, but 0244340437 is the number on WhatsApp. 0244340437 is the number. There are many technicalities, but do you, like me, think that it all boils down to posturing from both the normalization committee and the clubs, that there are too many egos, and that, you know, as I said on a WhatsApp platform yesterday that I shared with Aminu, I think that because of the situation we are in, somebody has to be a fool, you know, to put it in layman's terms. Somebody should put their pride at stake a bit here and there. There should be minor adjustments, you know, so that we can move forward. 0302216541. This message from Inko Joseph is pretty lengthy, but I'll go through it. He says that, 1, I think the clubs will have to soften their stance to allow the normalization committee to speed up the process. This should not be the time for them to start thinking about getting all things right financially, but rather allow them to finish their job so that those proposals and suggestions will be channeled to the new FA leadership that will be elected. 3, the clubs should please remember they put pressure on the normalization committee to get them a competition because their players were getting rusty. 4, those club owners who have turned the events to politics should stop. 5, on the other hand, the normalization committee should also please listen to the clubs, especially on how to get the rep for the African competition next season. And 6, the normalization committee should please focus more on their mandate before any other. That's from Inko Joseph. Wilson from Cantonment says that Dr. Kofi Amwa is a dictator. That's on WhatsApp. Fred from Newtown.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the Joy Sports Link, Fred.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please, I have so many things I have to say, but I have to check my words and make them brief.
Yes, please.
The very first thing I want to address is the modalities of the competition.
Yes.
Yeah. I learned there to play penalties, to learn how to play penalties in future when we go to competitions. And I think that this penalty thing should have been done more at the juvenile level, as in the course that are 12, 15.
But Fred, I don't want to cut you. I mean, those penalty and those things are small issues. You understand? Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are very, very small issues. We have not even gotten the format yet. So these penalties, as for penalties, we can decide not to play it in a 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. Then please, concerning the issue on the money for the players.
Yes, sir.
I think the people should understand. The club should understand, because before there were no sponsorship for the league. And they were not even willing to let Ghanaians know how much they were even taking. So if we are normalizing things and they've made them aware of the money, why don't they take it? And claiming that they have 70,000 there, why don't they bring it up so that we use it for the competition?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, 0302216541. It's number to call if you have thoughts on this new competition the Normalization Committee want to bring. The tentative start date, which right now I don't know what is going to happen to that, was the 26th of January. Whether that is still valid, I do not know. But hopefully they can agree things very quickly, very speedily, and then we can have kickoff of this competition because the players are getting rusty and we need some local football as well. Hans.
Yeah, Gary, I've been quietly, listening to both sides. I listened to Dr. Amo, I listened to Aminu here. And I think that I see a few sentiments in there. Yeah, there may be an element of ego in there. There is also a lot of mistrust.
Yes.
And there seems to be a struggle for control, if you like, which ultimately and rather sadly the clubs will win in the final analysis because I mean
you have not gone the 12 rounds, you have pronounced the winner.
Oh, I mean we know, because you see, if in the final analysis we're going to have an FA that was not necessarily at loggerheads or was consistently bumping heads, but a strong FA and a strong, club representatives or clubs union, then it was going to inure to the benefit of Ghana football ultimately. But in the final analysis, what we are going to have is the same football people who were handling football back in control,
which is good for us.
Is it good? It's good for the clubs.
Yeah, which is good for the system, because at first they became people who could be pushed around by the bosses.
But if it's their own man at the helm, it's back to the same situation.
Right. Eric from Akosombo. Hi, Eric.
Oh, fine, thank you, my boss.
Yes, sir.
How are you too?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Thank God for the fantastic program you people are having over there. My brother, I want to tell the class that it is softening their stance. Because the way they are raised up their shoulders and they are heckling the normalization committee, it will help them. For now, they have the boss, they have the gas to stand before the normalization committee and challenge them. And you people are complaining that you are at home, your players are suffering, your players are not playing football. They said come so that you have something doing, so that your players can be active, so that you can sell your players and get money. And now you are showing boss. For the past 13 years, what were they doing? Someone travels to China to go and sign contract. Before they come to Ghana, the contract has changed. So as the contract, and then one person can stand and say that, no, I won't show you any contract. So please tell the clubs to soften their stance. And I'm disappointed in my own chairman. You have this money, and we don't have proper back.
Eric, the money, let's be clear, I didn't want to interrupt you, but the money is not from Togbe Afede officially. We don't know. The clubs say that they have contributed to this $400,000. It's not from Togbe Afede officially, please.
Okay, so now the clubs can conjure and bring out some money to support their tournament.
Eric, who? That tells you the commitment. Eric.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying it's surprising, isn't it?
Yes, please.
It's very, very surprising. Anyway, thank you very much for your comment. Loco from North Kaneshie. Hello, Loco. Loco. Oh, we lost him. Loco from North Kaneshie. Please call back 0302216541. 0302216541. The WhatsApp line is 0244340437. Aminu, one thing I want to say, Eric, also, who called from Akosombo, is that I know that the argument many people will make is to be cynical. Loco from North Kaneshie. Yes, good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us.
My question is, the normalization committee, you don't have various discipline committee in place. The referee association, the discipline committee, the various committee which was there before.
No.
The came in. And then concerning the Asari, who determined the committee salary, the nomination committee, who determined the salary? Is it the Prime Water House or in line with the government policy? Let us know. The salary and the allowances. Who determines all these things so that it doesn't affect them or we, the supporters and of the normalization committee in the near future? Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Loco. We appreciate your comment as well. 0302216541. I think that this issue became an issue some time back about how much they were paid.
I think when Biadontin made a point that they were not even being paid in that altercation with Kosma, people,
and then later it came out that they were paid.
Absolutely.
So we know that it's an honorarium.
Yes. But you see, the point is, I don't think that people will go and give them
people are not fair to football people. Right. Over a 4-year term, the executive committee of the Ghana FA were paying ex gratia of $15,000 each. Yeah. Now, the normalization committee have been in office for 6 months, 3 months or so, and it's almost half the amount over the 4 years. Dr. Kofi Amwa is taking $5,200 as monthly allowance.
Ghana cedis or
dollars? $5,200.
Okay.
Whilst the other members are taking $4,000 each at the end of every month.
I see.
And you people sit here and you've been at the back of. You see, it's sad, but
it's
good. I
have one statement.
I don't have a problem.
Answer.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. No, let me. I don't have a problem.
If somebody is going to be in a job for 6 months,
yes,
to normalize a rot of 13 years.
Yes.
And in future,
yes,
if we look back at those 6 months,
yes,
we may judge that those 6 months were probably the most crucial in Ghana's football history. And because of $5,200 times 6 months, you think it's an issue.
No, that's not an issue. I think the first part of the statement is not justice to the whole. It's not an issue. The issue, it's not an issue at all. I'm very happy that these things are coming to light. Sure. So that going forward, when people are in position, we recognize that they are also doing the opportunity cost of their being where they are needs to be rewarded or mitigated some way or the other, and shouldn't be used as a criticizing rod to hit them.
Interesting.
And the fact that I'm thirsty, okay, the fact that I'm thirsty for water doesn't mean you should give me dirty water when I know you have pure water in the other hand.
I think that's an answer to Eric.
Real quick point. You see, I'll be very, very glad if after the work of the normalization committee and a new FA administration is put in place, the club's posture will remain just as it is. But, and I was making the point earlier, sadly, it is likely that one of their own will be leading the FA, and they are going to toe his line in the manner they did with Kwesi Nyantakyi, and it will be business as usual for me. I think that the most interesting part of all of this is when we come to reviewing the statutes of the Ghana Football Association, plugging the holes that we felt were exploited by the previous administration. I want to see the posture of the clubs then. I want to see the sort of resistance they are going to put up. And in a lot of ways, it's going to send certain messages to people as to whether they are resisting change or they are willing and actually concede that things were not done right. And a review of the FA statute is very, very necessary moving forward. I asked a number of questions yesterday on our platform, if you remember. Have the clubs suddenly have they suddenly come to recognize the power that they hold?
Yes. Hans,
you've come to realize the power you hold suddenly.
Hans, yes. I don't think that's important. It's not important because we are moving forward. We knew that the clubs were yes men back in the day. If now they have discovered their voice, hallelujah.
Not entirely so.
For hallelujah. Very for how long?
Not entirely.
For how long?
But Hans, you should be happy.
I'm cautiously optimistic. You should be out with your Hawaii handkerchiefs. No, Gary, now is not important too. You yourself said it. We are moving forward.
But we are starting from now.
When a new FA administration comes and one of your own is in charge, will you be in the same posture that you are in now?
Probably not. Do you know why? Okay. Because one of our own probably will not make the mistakes that the normalization committee, who are outsiders, are making.
The other side is that.
I have to take this call. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, hello, Gary, good afternoon.
Yes, Nijangma.
Yeah, thanks for the program.
Yes, thank you.
Listening in, with rapt attention.
Yeah, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Adabaka.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I want to, first of all, I want to side with the clubs. I think that the way and manner the NC went about, they continue the thing, even after the clubs have brought their concerns and the rest of them. To me, it's marks of contempt. You understand? They should have tried as much as within their power to have a round table discussion with them. Because the club owners are the people who are spending the money. They are paying the players. They have contract with their players. They know how much players earn and the sort of money that they are spending. So if you say you are coming to pay their players, I don't understand. It's not as though the money that they are giving is cutting across. It's not money that they are giving to all the players who are taking part in the entire competition. You understand? I rather suggest that if they want to give out the money, then it should be in a form of they giving it across board. All the teams participating, even before the commencement, every player should be guaranteed of a certain money. But you shouldn't only give it to the winning team. What of the other players who partook in the tournament? You understand what I'm saying? So I think that that's what they should do. Again, the Premier League clubs, we should rather support them because they are asserting their authorities. And the sort of league we want to build, if we don't allow them to assert their authority and we keep suppressing them, I don't think that we'll have the sort of league that we want to have.
Nijangwa, I agree with everything except one point. Remember, because we are not in normal times, we are not normalizing things only for the 16 Premier League clubs. That's what a lot of us forget. Yes, we are doing things for everybody to be happy. 48 Division 1 league clubs, Division 2, women's football. So right now, let me ask you a question. What are we going to do to Division 2 people now?
I'm sure that since they've divided the money into two, surely they are going to take care of the Division 2 and the other parts.
That is the point.
My challenge is not to do with the money. My challenge is to do with the former. Do you know that, Gary?
Yes, sir.
As it stands now, I can tell you on authority that no Division 1 club can partake in African Champions League. Even in Ghana, as it stands now, we only have about 4 credible clubs who can partake in Africa.
Sure.
Because all the rest of the clubs, they don't have that financial wherewithal and the financial muscle to partake in Africa. So if you are bringing out a league with the foremost intention of people qualifying via their participation in those various leagues, and you put Division 1 and the senior Division 2 in the same bracket, in case of the Division 1 qualifying, are you going to assist them financially to partake in Africa? Even the likes of Kotoko and the rest are shouting. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure, thank you very much.
Yes, it must be done. It must be done well.
Right. But don't forget that even as we want to do it well, we don't have unlimited funds, you see. So we all must adjust small. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
thank you very much.
But they should listen to the clubs. They should sit down with them.
Sure. Agree. Many thanks. Yeah. Kelly from Winneba, you are next. Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Sports Link, Kelly.
Good afternoon. Now.
Yes, sir. Doing well.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very happy. It's speaking the minds of football people, so-called, in Ghana. It looks like you were also talking about the Division 2, the parts, women's football. But as we speak now, Division 2 clubs are not parts.
Yes.
I ran a Division 2 club. We played in the FA Cup. And then I think we had gone past the first, the second, the third day we were moving for Midiama when this problem came.
What team do you represent?
Winneba United.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, as we speak now, all the preparations we put in place towards that FA Cup that we were playing, we asked and then we've been told everything has been quashed, that there is no money, nothing. So if there is a chance to play this first year or second year or whatever, why don't you even rope in the team Division 2 clubs that were originally participating in the FA? And one thing, let me also point this, and it looks like any time there is time for discussion on football, you get the real administrators or more like those in football shying away. So people who call are supporters who are not in the boardrooms and so on. You train people, the league is off. And as I speak, we still have Division 2 clubs keeping their players. We know Division 2 clubs, mostly the players are mature players. So definitely after 1 year, they are supposed to leave. If they want to stay, they stay. Now, if you play this and then you don't introduce them to this higher grade football sort of, how are they also going to maybe practice themselves into the first and then the Premier Division?
Sure.
So I think it's more like Aminu said, it is corporate experience being imposed. I would say being imposed on football. Football issues are different. But thank you. I think when you go on more and more with these things, I think we will just get back our voices like somebody was saying. And then irrespective of whoever is at the helm of the FA, will contribute our portion to make Ghana football a better one.
Excellent submission, Kelly. We really appreciate it. Asante from Abeka. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Joy Sports Link.
Good afternoon, Gary.
Yes, you're on.
Please, I just want to ask some questions.
Please go ahead.
This special competition,
Yes.
It's just, it's just a stop-up competition.
Yes and no. Yes, because yes, it is stopgap while we sort out what to do with the old Ghana Premier League and FA Cup seasons, and no, because if the format as the normalization committee wants goes ahead, it will produce a winner for the CAF Champions League, a representative for the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. So yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What I want the Premier League clubs to do is they should just soften their stance. They should just soften their stance, because we saw them during the 13 years. This thing, we saw them. Now, fine, they are coming up.
Yes,
they are coming up. They want to let us know the power that they have. But my one concern that I have is about the money that they say they are paying to the players that they don't understand. Now, when the Black Stars went for the AFCON, that they were placed second, when they came and the cards were given out, were those people, those around, giving some of the cards? This is a competition, and they are saying, okay, the champion is taking this money. Now, after the champion has taken the money, we are giving the players that participated in the finals. We are giving them some bonuses. Is that one to a problem?
No, you are not getting it right. Can I explain? Would you give me a second to explain?
Okay.
Yeah. So what it is that they would have given, you are right by saying that they would have given the winner and the runner-up $100,000 and then some amount of money respectively. But the normalization committee wanted to pay the 30 players directly. What the clubs are saying is that, Asante, if you have a team, right? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
If you have a team and you have 30 players, not all 30 players contribute the same amount of energy and skill and effort to your team. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So you can't give your star player 2 Ghana cedis after he has played all 8 games, and then give your player who is just a bench sub who played only 2 games the same 2 Ghana cedis. It won't be good for morale in camp. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
That is what the clubs are saying.
Yeah, but they should consider it that this is just a competition that we are preparing for the next season. That's the second. We just want to like they should boost the morale of we the fans, so that we can come to the stadium next season.
That's true.
Look at what they are doing now.
That's true.
So if the players' morals are boosted, that at the end, okay, I'm going to watch house match. Okay, there's a player, there's this player. I'm going to watch him on the field. Yeah. Next season, look at the number of supporters we are going to get on the field.
You want us to look at the bigger picture? You want the clubs to look at the bigger picture?
Yes, just look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
If we pay the players are on the field. Now, those even at the bench, that they play 2 matches. At the end, they were among the 30 players.
Yeah.
So if like they say equally among them, they're all players. They should just do this for just 3 months. And next season, that's where we all their this thing that they are saying.
And hopefully by that time, sponsors would have come on. There'll be more money.
Yes,
yeah.
With more money and everything will go. But this one's just 3 months. We should just play and go.
All right.
Fans, we can get
he's in the studio. He seems to be agreeing with you a bit. So yes, that's true. Asante from Abekan, that's a good submission as well.
Larry, we've always maintained that our position is not entrenched at all.
Yeah, sure.
The only entrenched position is coming from the other side, which is the normalization, and it's reflective in the official have indicated.
Yeah.
If they,
I'll also say that if I meet them privately, they will also say that you people are
no.
So both of you should talk.
In our official communication, we made it very clear. Even though the position now,
your tone is conciliatory.
Yes. Even though our position now is that we are boycotting because that's the options you gave us.
Yeah.
We are very much open, and I'm saying that clubs representative are on standby. We had various social events, but we are on standby.
Yeah.
Anticipating that there will be a call for us to meet so that by Monday all these issues will be resolved.
0302-216-541. We have 10 minutes more. I have a couple of issues to thrash out, and Hans will also have 1 or 2 questions I know that he has to ask. Aminu, would you? What is your position? And you are not speaking for the clubs here,
sure.
as an individual.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I was speaking to a lay person about this competition and normalization, and the first question he asked was, but why aren't they continuing the old Ghana Premier League season and the FA Cup?
It's I understand why it's a very touchy topic for the normalization committee to tackle, because it's fraught with several issues. Look, one fundamental thing is that
I have a feeling you are going on. You are,
no, just one fundamental.
We have a phone call.
Sure.
Mike from Tesano. Mike. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the Joy Sports Link. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Hi.
Good. I want to talk about a number of fundamental things that it appears that the normalization committee is omitting.
Sure.
There are fundamental issues that were raised with that announced with the whole expose that had to do with refereeing, quality of refereeing, quality of the management and oversight that the GFA itself should have done and provided that wasn't being done consistently. So putting all the other issues aside for a minute, just taking the refereeing issue, which has not been even dealt with, and the monitoring and enforcement of, should I say, disciplinary actions or appeals by clubs when they feel a decision hasn't gone their way, and so on and so forth. None of those things are being addressed. And however, you're going to play a competition, which I understand you want to do something in the short term and so on and so forth. But those issues are the things that in the immediate term, long term, and long term affect the people's attitudes towards
coming to the stadium and all that.
About football.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to come and watch a match that is fixed.
Yeah.
Or nobody wants to come and watch, things that have poor officiating and so on and so forth, because the quality is just so bad. And the final part is that I want to bring. Final point I want to bring up, and then I'll hang up, and you can discuss it when I'm listening in. Is our youth football? We used to have Colts. Okay, we used to have a very, very, very solid system whereby the youth were, a grassroots system where the youth were nurtured and mentored, and they came up through the Colts and all through the system. So all our successes at the youth level, okay, in fact, our international successes and our reputation was built on that youth system, that Colts system. We've totally thrown that out of the way, and we're going for ridiculous, cosmetic issues about, corporate issues and sponsorship and so on. If the product sucks or the product stinks like it does right now, nobody will put their brand or associate their business to.
So Mike, just to sum up what you are saying, you think that we are running a pyramid structure here where the most important thing has been relegated to the bottom, which is fixing the statutes?
Absolutely. I believe that the most important things haven't even been touched. They're not even relegated to the bottom.
So, Mike,
a single thing about what we're doing about referees, making them more professional.
Mike, can I banter with you for a moment? I asked this question, and this is the sense I was given by the football people and the normalization committee and everybody, that you know what, because we are not in normal times, if we say we are going to fix the statute quickly and then move on to this and move on to that, we cannot get everything done the way we want it. So let's just start the football competition. The most important people in this enterprise, who are the players, let's get them warmed up. Let's get them doing something while concurrently we fix the statute. You understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I hear it. But we have a problem in this country, and this goes across football and everything, not just football.
Sure.
Okay. We act like we cannot walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah.
This is the 21st century, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Look, what are we doing? What's the roadmap? Lay out the plan and say that these are the things we're working on. Immediately, okay, who are people coming from outer space or Mars or whatever to come and referee the matches? Okay, where are the referees coming from? You have the same problem.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it. Look, I was raised, personally, on Accra Great Olympics. That's my team. I bleed, cry, dream, sleep Accra Great Olympics. Okay. That team, it's all but a sham right now. All because the whole system, they could not survive and handle the whole system as it was rotting.
Sure.
Okay.
Mike, I think you have made your point, and you've been talking for 4 minutes now. Unfortunately, you've made your point. Trust me. I would like to go to someone else. Thank you for your submission. All right, Bismarck. Hello, Bismarck. Yeah, sorry for keeping you waiting. Good afternoon.
Sometimes the callers should make their point very brief so that those on the light we can get opportunity to speak our mind.
Yes, our boss.
Because you look at if nobody, because the love of Ghana and the love of Joy FM, that is why some of us we listen to you.
I agree.
Anyway,
where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Tema.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, please. My question is, see the time they implement the normalization committee, they did their best to put things in order, but all the same, it couldn't be last year. Now that things is going on, we don't want to see any Kalabule League in Ghana again.
Sure.
Please, we don't want to see any Kalabule League in Ghana again. We don't want to see that mafia, whatever, you go here, they cheat you, this and that. We want to see fair play. And you, the media, please, we want you to focus on Ghana soccer. Look at we have Hearts of Folk, Kotoko, Ebusan Grouse, this and that, Ash Gold, whatever. Then the whole country is very happy. Now, see what everybody channel is, how do you call it? European soccer. So please, you, the media, you should hammer there so that the referees, the official, whatever, football is being played at the pitch.
Hello, Bismarck? Okay, we lost Bismarck, but great point. And that's what we are all working. Yes.
Was it Mike?
Yeah, Mike from Tesano.
Fantastic submission. Look, I've always maintained that.
I mean, most of us feel that
there is the fundamental responsibility of the normalization committee has to be, let me mention it, reviewing the statute of the Ghana Football Association. That is the biggest problem with our football. Look, it has element of integrity, it has element of procedure, it has element of administrative. It encompasses everything. If we deal with that, we would have dealt with 80% of the problem. You understand me? Yes, we all consider there is a need for players to be active. That there is a need for football, some form of football to happen. I would rather leave that to the clubs. I mean, is here. If they can't organize a competition, they should tell us. Let the Division 1 league organize their competition. At the very least, have oversight responsibility. Let them bring their plan and then go along with it. But they've been in office for how long? And you tell me that for as long as you've been in office, you are yet to touch the statute of the Ghana Football Association.
And I'm not cutting you. One of the normalization committee members said that, remember, if we want to do statutes, we can fix it in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Like Adu Adontin said that.
Yes. I don't doubt it. I have no doubt. I don't know.
Yeah.
And let me sound this word of caution to them. If the normalization committee is not careful, at the end of their tenure, when they've handed over, Ghanaians will look back and tell them the poor job that they would have done. Because you see, we all concede, and we've hammered it on here. We are not in normal times. They are there because we were in abnormal times. Their job is to normalize and sanitize the system. If at the end of the day, we are back to playing league football in this country, and officiating is poor, and there's a general lack of integrity, and corporate Ghana is not willing to associate with the brand Ghana Premier League, the brand Division 1 League, the brand Ghana football, they would have failed and failed woefully.
Thank you, Hans. That's your summary. Aminu, what I want you to summarize is a word of hope. That's what I want.
Well, the word of hope is that
the
clubs are very much open, very, very much open. Like as I told you earlier on, the clubs are literally on standby, awaiting a call for us to meet with the normalization, the Ghana FA. Let's find common ground. Let's all have Ghana football as the main focus. And let's eschew anything that will bring or sow seeds of any discord between players, club administrators, and the Ghana FA. Let us come together and ensure that we put the necessary blocks together and ensuring that we have a good competition if we are going to play one in.
Aminu Shadow, Dreams FC Administrative Manager. Thank you very much for your time. My message of hope is simple. We all know what is supposed to be done. And for me, nobody on the normalization committee or on the side of the clubs is oblivious to that fact. What I see are personality clashes and egos. It won't help anybody. Let's just focus on what's got to be done and let's communicate, and we will sort this out very soon. My name is Gary Al Smith. I trust you have enjoyed the show. Many thanks to all the callers. Fred, Eric from Akosombo, Loco, also Ni Jangma from Adabraka, Kelly from Winneba, Asante from Abeka, Mike from Tesano, and finally Bismarck from Tema. You've all been stars. Good day, and the news is next. Bye-bye.
Joy 99.7 FM.